Hello and welcome to the career simulation of Artyom Levshunov. Let's go. To start off, Artyom will be playing on the Green Bay Gamblers on the first defensive pairing. In his draft year, Levshunov would score 74 points in 64 games played. The Gamblers would finish 5th in the league as well. Unfortunately, in the conference finals, Green Bay would be eliminated to the Madison Capitals in 4 games. Also, I forgot to show, but Levshunov would play 11 games and score 9 points. But anyway, in the draft lottery, the Kings and the Sharks have the best odds at the first overall pick. In the draft lottery, nothing interesting happened except for the Red Wings moving up 10 spots to 4. The Canadiens would select Artyom with the 5th pick in the draft. Levshunov is revealed to be a 75 and would receive his entry-level contract at 3 years for $801,000. In his first season, Levshunov is up to a 79. He would also make the team, playing on the third defensive pairing with Jordan Harris. Artyom would play 50 games and score 17 points. The Canadiens would finish 25th in the league and miss the playoffs this season. In year 2, Levshunov is now an 82 overall. Finally, playing in a full 82-game season, Levshunov would score 48 points on the season. The Canadiens would finish 26th and miss the playoffs. In the last year of his ELC, he is now an 83. In 82 games, Artyom would score 44 points. The Canadiens would see huge improvement, finish 9th and making the playoffs. I spoke too soon maybe, as the Rangers would sweep Montreal in the first round. In 4 games, Levshunov would score 2 points. Levshunov would be given a 3-year deal this year for 3 years worth $3.8 million. Also, he is now an 84. In 82 games, Levshunov would score 55 points. The Canadiens would finish 12th in the league and make the playoffs. The Canadiens would be eliminated to the Maple Leafs in the first round in 5 games. In 5 games, Artyom would score 3 points. He is still an 84 overall. Levshunov would play 82 games again and scored 60 points. The Candies would finish 3rd in the league and make the playoffs. The Senators would eliminate the Canadiens in the second round in 7 games. In 12 games, Levshunov would score 11 points on the playoffs. Levshunov would massive progress, now at an 87. In 82 games, Levshunov scored 72 points. The Canadiens would finish 7th in the league and make the playoffs. In the first round of the playoffs, the Canadiens would be eliminated to Detroit in 5 games. Levshunov is now up to a 91 and would receive a 7-year contract worth $9.9 million. The Canadiens would finish 1st in the league, of course, making the playoffs. Unfortunately, the Habs would be eliminated to the Maple Leafs in 6 games. He is still a 91. In 82 games, Levshunov would put up 76 points. Montreal would finish 10th, still making the playoffs. The Maple Leafs would eliminate the Canadiens the same way as last year, as they eliminated them in 6. Still a 91. In 82 games, Artyom would score 87 points. The Canadiens would finish 2nd in the league and make the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Canadiens would go down to the Penguins in 6 games. He is still a 91. Levshunov would play 82 games again and score 79 points. The Canadiens would finish 5th in the league and make the playoffs. The Canadiens would be eliminated to the Red Wings in the first round in 7 games. In 7 playoff games, Levshunov would score 14 points. Levshunov is still a 91. In 82 games, Levshunov would score 84 points. The Canadiens would finish 9th place in the league and make the playoffs, of course. The Habs would make it all the way to the finals but would be eliminated to the Canucks in 5 games. He is still a 91. In 82 games, Levshunov would score 79 points. The Canadiens would finish 7th in the league and make the playoffs. The Canadiens would be eliminated in the conference finals in 6 games to the Red Wings. In 17 games, Levshunov would score 10 points. In the final year of his 3rd contract, he is of course still a 91. Levshunov would play 80 games but would score 72 points. The Habs would finish 7th and make the playoffs. Once again, the Habs would make it all the way to the finals, but this time they would be eliminated to the Kings in the Stanley Cup final. Levshunov would get a 5-year contract, this time at $10.7 million. In 82 games, Levshunov would score 68 points. The Canadiens would finish 26th in the league and make the playoffs. Levshunov would see regression, as he is now an 89. In 82 games Levshunov would score 52 points. The Canadiens finished 30th and missed the playoffs. Levshunov is still in 89. In 82 games Levshunov would score 67 points this season. However, the Canadiens would finish 22nd in the league and miss the playoffs sadly. He is now in 86. In 80 games Levshunov scored 61 points. The Canadiens would finish 10th and make the playoffs. But the Maple Leafs would eliminate the Canadiens in 7. In 7 playoff games Levshunov would score 2 points. In what could be his last ever year in the NHL, he is now in 85. In 82 games Levshunov would score 41. The Canadiens would finish 7th and make the playoffs. The Canadiens would be eliminated to the wild card Sabres in 5 games. In 5 games Levshunov would score 2 points. Levshunov would get a 3-year contract for $4.5 million and is now 83. Levshunov would score 38 points, unfortunately only playing 38 games. However, the Canadiens would finish 3rd and make the playoffs. For what is the 3rd time the Canadiens would make it to the Stanley Cup but would be eliminated to the Blues, this time in 5 games. Artyom is now a 78. Levshunov would spend the rest of his season in the AHL playing for Laval, as he would play 71 games and score 61 points. The Rocket would finish 13th and make the playoffs. In the first round of the playoffs, the Syracuse Crunch would eliminate the Rocket in 4 games. In 4 games Levshunov would score 4 points. He is now a 75. Artyom would only play 23 games but would put up 13 points. The Rocket would place 11th in the league and make the playoffs. In the second round the Crunch would eliminate the Rocket, this time in 5 games. In 9 games Levshunov would score 4 points. At the age of 39 Artyom Levshunov would officially retire from the NHL. Here are his stats, pause to read if you'd like. Also, Levshunov would be sent up to the Bell Center as he would have his number 90 retired. In all-time games played, Levshunov played 1,519 games, placing him 32nd in between Matt Cullen and Tim Stützle. In all-time Habs games played, he played 1,519 games played, placing him 1st in Canadiens all-time. In goals, Levshunov scored 405 goals, placing him 7th in all-time Canadiens in between Bernie Geoffrion and Steve Stott. In assists, Levshunov scored 781 assists, placing him 1st. In points, Levshunov placed 4th with 1,186 in between Maurice Richard and Jean Beliveau. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.